Yes, we are picking winners here. Run Pure Sports, Run Pure Bets collaboration. From the bet side, we have one keg Palagalagalia, something Italian. And then no, I didn't get it right. Paglia?
Yes,
Pelusia? Pagliarillo.
Paglia.
Paglia. Okay, thank you. I kind of knew that, but I kind of didn't. You remember Mike Pagliarulo?
No.
No, because you're younger than me. And then Mangone is on the other. He just has one name. It's very easy to get it. He's still with his prison background. It is wonderful to see you today, Mangone. We got 6 games on the slate, plus Thursday night football. Bucks, Saints, Pats, Chargers, Titans, Colts, Panthers, Falcons, Miami, Buffalo. Keg and I looking at this going, what a crappy slate. But Mangone turns it around, brings some positivity. What is nice about this slate, Mr. Mangone?
Yeah, the nice thing about this slate is one, like it's a DFS slate to play that's football, right? I mean, Holden,
It's
when you're
true.
sitting there in April, right? When
I
you're in
know.
April and you're like, oh, I miss the NFL so much. I'm going to tell you to go back to 1027 and watch the tape of picking winners and tell me that it's a bad slate. That's all I want you to do, Holden. You can rewatch the show. You can hit the like. You can hit the subscribe as well. That'll get you to be able to get notified when we go live with our videos and gets us to get the producer all happy that we get the likes up. So yeah, it's not that bad of a slate, Holden. Again, we'll find a way to get it done. News will come out. We got the Falcons in a dome, 46 total. That used to be fun to have the Falcons in a dome. We haven't seen that in a little while. We got the Titans and Colts. I mean, that total was at 49 and now it's at 50.5. And this is a big division rivalry, right? I mean, listen, if the Colts could win this game, the Colts have turned it around a little bit. So that could actually be a really big win if they can beat the Titans. And then, I mean, listen, Eagles and Lions, like, again, another dome game, fantasy goodness. Not saying that people love the Eagles and Lions, but for fantasy, that's going to be a fun one. And of course, Holden, we have on an island game, right? Like, I mean, not on an exact island, but close enough, right? The Saints and Bucks, like at 4 o'clock, everyone is going to be watching Saints and Bucks. Sure, some will be tuning in to Chargers, Patriots. No one cares about Denver and Washington, even though we're in the Colorado area. Only these people care. But Bucks and Saints is going to be a fun one, Holden.
Okay, so now that Mangone got that out of the way, Mangone, I was watching on Sunday. I didn't think the games were good at all, but I kept saying to myself, yeah, that's what I said. Wait till it's July and you're just dying for the NFL to be back, and I'll take a shitty NFL slate over anything else any day. Here we go. RPS Heater 25 is our new code, 25% off your first payment. RPS Heater 25. Guys are already smashing in basketball. NBA season. NFL has been terrific. On the betting side, my God, it's just, keg with the live shows. We got NBA content over there. Tyler with a lot of props. He does NBA and NFL. There's college football stuff. So much to get into. And we got winners too. The members never win thing is some nice shtick, but let's get into these. Bramantha, love the name. 7K winner in NBA. Russell, EPL wins 28K. You notice how it's not, it's NBA. We had all the football winners, but it's not just the big sports. EPL, that's soccer. PGA, John Galt won 7.5K. The Birdie Monster with 100K. Our golf is just spectacular. Our golf content. So again, RPS Heater 25% off your first payment. Hit that like button. Subscribe to the both channels. Run Pure Sports, Run Pure Bets. Keg, let's start with you here, buddy. Bucks Saints. I already hit the Bucks -5 in this one. Here's what I like about the Bucks. Tom Brady goes out, just doesn't stop scoring. They just beat the hell out of people. It's like they could be up by 21 in the fourth, and he's still throwing the ball. At this point, how do you not back the Bucks? I don't care if they're on the road at the Superdome. They're facing Jameis, man.
Yeah, I can't disagree. I can't disagree here, man. They looked very good on Sunday. I think, the offense looked probably slightly better than the data says that they did, but they were solid and they capitalized on almost all the mayhem that the defense caused on Sunday. The defense finally looked like the defense that we thought they would all year long. Some of it had to do with how bad, obviously, Fields looks through 7 weeks, but regardless, that defense caused like 4 sacks, 3 picks. They recovered 2 fumbles. So you would take that every day of the week, 10 times on Sunday. So the Bucks are what we thought that they would be. They're one of the 2 best teams in the league, right on pace to make another run as long as they stay healthy. The Saints, man, I know that they started the year, they won 4 of the first 6 games, but they haven't looked particularly good this year. They were uninspiring on Monday night, and that was against a team led by Geno Smith, but they managed to survive on the road. They escaped with a win. So it's hard to gauge how the defense looked last week because they were playing an offense led by Geno. But the Saints offense looked pretty inept to me against a horrible Seattle defense. And that's concerning for them. 4.5 yards per play in this league isn't going to do it, especially now when you're going to play a team, like you just said, that's capable of going up and down the field, especially when they're locked in. So I don't like to lay 5 on the road as a general rule, but these 2 teams seem like they're on 2 different levels right now, even though the Saints only have 1 more loss this year. So definitely lean on the Bucs -5 here for me. Agree with you. As far as the total, it can go either way. If the Saints offense looks like the way it did on Monday, this game probably flies under. But if Winston puts together a solid game, it could fly over. So I would say slightest lean to the under for me, but I think the better play here is the play that you're already on, the favorite.
Is this a show bet?
I mean, it could be. Yeah.
I'm all over it. I mean, that might scare you a little bit that I'm on it, but my show bet will be Bucs -5. At this point, I just think they go. Yeah, Mangone, just from the betting side, because you bet too. I mean, what do you think about the Bucs going in here this week? And then we'll get to the DFS side, but they're just such a better team. Gronk's coming back this week, and Winston is just not he's nothing more than a middling quarterback at best. And if you're going to ask me to back the Saints to even cover this thing with Tom Brady there, I'm just not going to do it, man.
Yeah, Winston has definitely been more disappointing this year than I was hoping. I will say I'm not happy about the Gronk coming back because Gronk, he gets a lot of red zone looks and that kind of messes up in DFS a ton. I was excited to just keep attacking and playing the Bucs offense, which I had been doing the last 2 weeks in tournaments. It's worked out really well for me. And I was like, it's nice that we now have the targets not as spread out. I wasn't as worried as OJ Howard and Cam Brate stealing a ton of stuff, but yeah, Gronk could definitely be frustrating. It is his first game back and who knows? I mean, Gronk's not going to score 2 touchdowns every week, right? No. I mean, it's not going to happen. So maybe I should just ride it out and stick with it. But yeah, I think betting wise, yeah, I mean, there's a great case to be made to be backing the Bucs here. Obviously off of the Monday Night Football game too. It's a little brutal there for the Saints, that quick turnaround. But the Saints, their offense, it's also not great. I mean, Kamara's the whole thing, right? I mean, I'm all for a lot of position players don't matter, like running backs and receivers that much, but they do matter to some degree. I mean, I think there was something on Twitter. Everyone says, the running backs don't matter. And so I get it. They matter to a certain degree, right? Like you take Devontae Adams off the Packers this Thursday, it's a problem. I'm dreading that game as a Packers fan. It's not going to end well for us, but yeah. Anyways, overall, it's hard to sit there and walk up to the window and be like, hey, I got Saints +5, right? It's really difficult. So I think the way to approach this game is watch the line move throughout the week. If it gets to 6.5, if it somehow even gets to 7, you could definitely consider the Saints side, but I don't see myself going against the Bucs right now. It's one of those spots where I'm just going to say to myself, watch this line move. If it somehow gets to 6.5 or 7, I'll think on it and then maybe bet it.
Okay, so DFS, let's go to that side of things. I'm with you on Gronk. It's a very easy build with, and I know it's popular, but Brady, Godwin, Evans, we saw what happened there. And Antonio Brown's out for an extended absence. They said he's got a sprain around his heel. He's not coming back anytime soon. So where does that leave us with the Bucs passing game if we want to pair them with Brady? And then on the other side, is it possible that Kamara just doesn't have a blow-up game? What are we doing here? Let's start with
the thing I like about the Bucs, right? It's just an if-then statement when it comes to stacking. Also, the other thing I like about the Bucs is I don't have to play let's say I play Kyler Murray. Let's say I play Lamar Jackson. Well, there's a lot of a guessing game of how it can go down. It could also happen with their legs. If Tom Brady goes for 25+ fantasy points, Holden, then what happens? Well, it's clearly Mike Evans, right? It's Chris Godwin. It's just a really simple scenario right now because Antonio Brown's not there. Now, Gronk is going to add a little bit of problems to it. It's very simple, Holden. Like, if you go outside, then you're hanging out with a lady. Like, we just know that. It's just such a simple, easy equation that we can put together. And it takes up 3 roster spots. That's the other thing, Holden, right? Like, we already kind of got that stack out the way. You don't have to stack, like they said, Kyler Murray up and guess. Is it AJ Green? Is it Rondell Moore? Is it Nuke Hopkins? It just seems like a very easy scenario. And it seems like a lot of people don't want to play Tom Brady right now in their not in their stacks, in tournaments, because they feel like he doesn't have the upside of these other quarterbacks, right? People will stare at Justin Herbert and be like, man, Justin Herbert, I can play with Austin Eckler, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams. It could be Donald Parham. And there's just so many other guys that can go to him. With Antonio Brown being out, I just think the Bucs stack right now is amazing. And we get this game in a dome. It's a 50 total. I hope the ownership stays down. It's been down on Brady the last couple of weeks where everyone's been on other stacks. I hope this one does not become the popular stack because it is probably my favorite stack right now.
Good to see Joey work in the chat. I added him to the mute button on Twitter a couple of weeks ago.
Welcome to the club, Joey Work. Welcome to the mute button club.
Yeah, he's done. He's in the mute button club. It's too bad.
Wait a minute. That's not nice.
That's fine. I follow him still. I just don't want to hear what he has to say anymore.
I mean,
it's a long list, Keg.
Hold on. This might be a mistake. Joey Work crushed the World Series last year, betting wise. You might miss a good free bet out there. I mean, you might have to wait about a week.
Well, if you're a member, you get the pick in Discord or on the bet sheet. So, Keg, this is a wonderful segue. What is the code to get some money off the bet side?
Use promo code BETS25 off, gets you 25% off the first week or month. If you already have the DFS side, but you want to join the bet side, I think the promo code is GetBets, and your first month will be free on the bet side.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Okay, so the last thing, here's something. This always pisses me off. People come in here. What was it? Tommy David Walker, very square take. You can take a square and shove it up your ass. If it's a good bet, what is wrong with having a square take? Please tell me.
What's the take, Bill? Like,
probably saying it was the Bucs, probably the Bucs take.
Oh, gotcha.
I doubt it was anything you said. Keg, let's talk about this for a second.
Yeah.
Square. What is this square bullshit?
Squares win. The public wins about 49.8% of the time.
I know.
So, I mean, the average Joe Schmo walking the street wins 1 out of every 2 NFL bets that he makes, which means a lot of times the public side, which is considered the square side, is going to be the right side in a bet. And if that's what it is, that's what it is. We're here to pick the winners. So if we think that the winner is that side, that's the side, regardless if the public is on it or if they're not.
Yeah, that's all I want to say. Yeah, see, so this is why I muted Joey. I can block him in the Discord too. But he's like, square equals whole. That's fine if you want to do that, but if the bets are winning, that's just a conversation to have. Square, it's like it's an insult, is what people say now. You're an asshole, that's an insult. You're a square, that's an insult. So you're an asshole, and I'm a square, and that's just how it works. All right, RPS Heater, 25% off your first payment. We got more games to get into, like the Pats and the Chargers. Mangone, let's start with you on the DFS side, and then I want to get Keg's breakdown on this because this is interesting here. What do we want to do with the Chargers up against Belichick? Who's the guy that he takes out? Is it Eckler or is it Mike Williams? Who's the guy that Belichick hones in on this week?
Gosh, I hate that question, right? Oh, who's the Belichick? Who's Belichick taking out? I don't know. I mean, I'm not Bill Belichick. It's hard to – there's too many options, right? I think that's the issue. I don't know what he's going to do. I assume maybe it'd be taking out the passing game, right? And just maybe having Eckler run more because – I don't know. The Chargers do like to run. They're just a really good offense. I'm not going to try and play that guessing game, I don't think. One thing I do think the Chargers defense does is they are willing to let you run the ball, right? And I do think the Patriots are down to run the ball too. I think the Patriots are down to just slam Damian Harris down your throat and keep Justin Herbert off the field. I mean, that's like a Belichick type move. Hey, let me have Pat Mahomes on the sideline. Let me have Aaron Rodgers on the sideline. I'm just running it down your throat. And I wouldn't be shocked if they do that with a guy like Damian Harris. And I'm not saying Damian Harris is an amazing DFS play this week, but I do think he's someone that we should not be overlooking. I think if you listen to most shows, every week they'll just gloss over his name, or they'll say, oh yeah, Damian Harris is fine, but he doesn't get enough PPR, and who knows when the Patriots will score. Well, I don't hate this spot for them. Again, it's kind of a gross week, like you said, Holden. So I don't mind taking shots on Damian Harris if he's at like 5% or lower in tournaments. And I just saw your reaction, Holden. You're it's gross. But
you know what? I'm with you, though. The Chargers' run defense is as bad as it gets. It's like, I don't want to play Damian Harris. It might be a bad game script, but he could also just gash them early on.
Well, like I said, Holden, I said this with the Browns game, right? The Browns want to pound the rock, right? And of course, that game had a lot of points scored. The Browns did not win, but the Chargers like to take away that big play. They don't want to get beat on that. And they're going to have you crank it out and go downfield. And I think the Patriots are okay to do that. They'll do that with their tight ends, right? Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith. And don't forget, it's a Hunter Henry revenge game, Holden. So, hey, Hunter Henry might be able to get in the box there. So there's a lot going on in this game for a 49 total on a gross slate. I'm not saying, hey, like, let's fire up a Mac Jones stack. That's not what I'm saying. But I do think you could go to like a Keenan Allen stack with a Hunter Henry as like a small, like secondary stack. And I think that's decent. I don't mind Damian Harris. Like, you can pick a couple Patriots here and there as long as the ownership stays suppressed. Now, if you get Hunter Henry getting up to like 15%, if you get Damian Harris somehow up to 15, now I'd start to get worried. I don't want to be eating Patriots chalk. And hold on, one last guy we should talk about, right? Let's talk about Jacoby Myers. Man, it's not bad, right? If I told you Jacoby Myers played 7 games this year and his lowest output is 7.8 fantasy points, you're like, okay, that's not terrible. The floor is not bad, especially at a price point of 5.1. He's sort of like a cash game guy. I just hope he falls in the end zone, but I don't know if his touchdown equity is as good as everyone thinks. Everyone says, well, he's the wide receiver 1, but the problem is when they get to the goal line, what's going to happen? You're going to see a lot of double tight ends with Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith. You're going to see him pounding the rock with Damian Harris. There's just a lot more guys that they can use that I think he's a very frustrating roster. I have not played Jacoby Myers, so it's easy for me to just sit here and just not play him. I understand if you want to keep playing him, though, if you've been kind of going to him, because, hey, listen, I've been doing it with Robbie Anderson, so I get it if you're on the Jacoby Myers train. And then I didn't talk too much about Mike Williams and some of these other guys. I don't want to take shots on those tight ends. I think Eckler's a good play, but he's expensive. If he's under-owned, I wouldn't mind him at the price, but I don't want to spend that price tag on him. And I prefer Keenan Allen. I don't mind him in cash games at 6.5K.
Okay. So, Kegger, let's do this, man. The lines on these games, it is the Patriots plus 5.5 or plus 6. I'm seeing plus 6 on the road in this game. And again, they're probably, if they're going to win or keep this thing close, they're going to run the ball and try and keep it out of the hands of the Chargers. 47 is the 48.5 is the total now. 48.5. Do you have any thoughts on the total first? Because that's interesting to me. I don't know if they get there with the Patriots offense unless they're playing major catch up.
I think the number is about right, to be honest with you, at 49. I don't really see an edge either way, so the total is a pass for me.
Okay, and what about the side here?
Yeah, man, this Patriots team, in my opinion, has been getting way too much love in the marketplace considering their results. Yes, I understand that they have a losing record right now, but I've heard a lot of people talk about the Pats like potentially making a run if everything falls right for them. They're so much better than their record indicates. I think this is a bad football team that has maybe a slightly above average defense and a below average offense. They have not done a thing this year but beat up on the Jets twice and the Texans once, who are both rated 31st and 32nd in my power ratings, and just about everybody else's power ratings on the planet. So the Pats have done nothing through 7 weeks. I don't understand the love that they receive out there. So I'm not high on the Patriots at all. Now, the Chargers did not play last week, but the week before that, they gave me one of the few losses I've had the last 3 weeks when I backed them against the Ravens. They did not look good at all. they could do nothing right on both sides of the ball, and it was a really, really disappointing performance. However, this week, I think that they're playing a much worse team, in my opinion, with an extra week to prepare, and they don't have to travel for the game. So it feels like the spot that this team probably gets back on track and comes with an inspired effort. And I think Staley probably shows up here and comes with a winning game plan and exposes this Patriots team. Now, as far as the spread, my power ratings say that there's about 1 point worth of value on the Patriots here, depending where you have the home field for the Chargers at. But I can't bet them. Sometimes I buck my own PR when the numbers are different from the eye test. So I'm going to hope that this number continues to drop. It's already dropped a half point. Then if it continues to drop enough by Sunday, I might back the Chargers here. But for now, it's going to be a pass, even though technically, if you're asking me, the value right now, my numbers say is on the Patriots probably by a point, but I just can't back them.
No, I'm with you. It's a fade spot for us on the total, and then on the side. Hey, for those of you that don't have the bet side, that you're just on the DFS side, Keg. Now, listen, I think you need to brag more about your record personally. Mango, and you're on my side, right? Doesn't this guy need to brag more about his record? He's so damn good. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Keg could do better at that. I noticed one time I saw him, he scribbled out his, like, the amount he won on a bet, and it was like, I could tell when I looked, he like placed a $500 bet. It was a 30-1 bet. So I'm not a big, I know math, but like, just do the math quick. I don't know how much it was.
15K? Is that 15K, Keg?
I don't know, Keg. You won a ton of money and you just blanked it out on the people. You got to tell the people that you're a winner. They know it, but you got to show it to the people who don't know who the sports Keg is.
No question.
Listen, I have not been the best performer on this website the last 90 days. Our guy Joey works up 30 units last 90. Tyler is up, I think 21 units the last 90. I'm up like 15 or 16. I went 5 for 5 this week in the NFL. The last 3 weeks I've given out 22 bets on the live show and on the spreadsheet in the NFL. I'm 18-4. So yeah, I'm doing okay. But my guys are doing much better than me right now. Spread NBA started.
This is the bullshit I'm hearing. Listen, we know these guys are amazing. I want to hear about you. You're on the show.
I don't care about spread. I care about spread when I get to the NBA rundown. I like spread, but right now I care about the sports Keg. Tell me about him.
I'll copy and paste Joey's bet. I'll copy and paste you, Kegger. You.
Yeah, I'm doing well. I appreciate it. I 5 for 5 this week, 18-4 last 22. We're rolling, boys. We're rolling.
It's like pulling a goddamn tooth with you, man. You're good. You're great.
By the way, did anybody watch the wing contest on the Sunday show?
I don't even. Oh, what happened? Talk to us.
Joey went up against Cheese, one of our subscribers, and Cheese spotted Joey 7.5 wings. Okay. Right? We have 500 on it. Me and Joey have 500 on him plus 7.5 against him. And one of my friends I do the Saturday show with, right? So Joey 835, getting 7.5, and Cheese bowed out at 21.
That's brutal.
It was the easiest nickel I think that's been made in Rum Pure Bets history in a matter of literally 24 minutes.
Keg. So Tomas is a guy that's in Discord. He hits all of us up. And he
hits me up too.
I know. He asked me about soccer. He's like, tell me to expand my horizons. So he gets in here. He goes, I want to bet against Joey in the win contest. I'm like, first of all, I don't even know what the fuck you're talking about. But just hit Joey up. Just DM Joey and bet against him. I don't know if he bet against Joey.
No, we didn't see the message in time. First of all, he's a ball buster, that kid, right? Yeah. So if we would have saw the messages in time, we would have owned his refrigerator, his television, his washer and dryer. I mean, we would have took everything. But we didn't see it in time, unfortunately.
Disappointing, Tomas. I was hoping you'd go in and bet Joey Work. That would have ended up wonderfully.
Would have been awesome.
Yeah. All right. RPS Heater 25% off your first payment. Hit the like button if you like this show. If you don't, hit the like button. And then the subscribe, that little button in the right-hand corner as well. And the bet side is, you guys are doing wonderfully on your subscriptions.
We're up like 50 units since the new year started 90 days ago. That's crazy.
Yeah, no question. Thomas was on there. Pocket QB Lamar says Thomas was on there. So
yeah, but he was DMing people. Like, he wasn't saying that he wanted to bet in the YouTube chat. It was behind the scenes.
Yeah, you gotta, Thomas, come on, clean it up, buddy. If you're watching right now, clean it up. Don't shame me for not liking soccer. And then he's like, you live in their shadows. I'm like, okay.
Bro, can you imagine asking me if Chelsea or the Boston Red Sox are going to win a game? Me, of all people. Like,
got any good questions from Tomas?
Yeah. Me and Tomas have became acquaintances.
Yeah, of course you have. He's become acquaintances with everybody.
We like him. I like him though. I like the guy. I like getting bothered by him. Titans Colts is our next.
I'll take note of that next time he asks me for a bet.
Yeah, send him over, man. I'm completely honest with the guy. You know,
send Tomas to Holden, and that's okay. All right.
I'm not going to give him bad picks or I'm not going to give him any picks, but you know, if he wants to come up here, let's do it. What are we doing with Tennessee, Indianapolis? By the way, we got Titans, Colts, Panthers, Falcons, Miami, Buffalo, and then Thursday Night Football to get to still too. Derrick Henry, let's do it. It's nonstop with this guy. The Chiefs did a nice job against him last week. So he was not worth the $11K on FanDuel. They dropped him $500 this week, Mangone. He's only 10-5. DraftKings has him at 8-9. You look at this slate. Is this a Derrick Henry week?
Yeah, so it's hard to talk. I always do this on shows. You ask me one question about Derrick Henry, and then I just start talking about other players. But the reason why I'm doing that, Holden, is it's when you roster these top end guys, right? It depends what the slate looks like. Like, yes, I would love to play Derrick Henry. It would be great if I could get him into my lineups every week. I would play him, but salary is a thing. We got to make sure that we can afford him, and we got to make sure that some of these other guys on the slate are not worth playing. And that's 6K range, so it's getting a little bit better where some of these guys are getting a little priced up, but there are still some really good plays that you can go to, right? Like, so Derrick Henry's 8-9. I like Derrick Henry here. You can also make a case like Alvin Kamara, if he is going to get the PPR production he got the other day, and we know you can't really run on the Bucs, like, dude, if he's going to get 10 targets and get 100 yards again receiving, like, I'm in. You know what I mean? Like, Kamara definitely is a really good play at 8-7. So those are two guys you can look at. But some of the guys that we were playing, right? Najee Harris is now 7-5. Austin Eckler, 7-9. Like, those are getting expensive. They're not in that 6K range anymore. Jonathan Taylor, Swift, they were at the 6K range. Now they're in the 7s. Joe Mixon, 6-9. Darrell Henderson's at 6'5". Leonard Fournette, 6'3". Those two guys pop out as really good plays. Chuba Hubbard at 6K. He's another guy that pops out as a really good play. So the point I'm getting at is there are still some running backs in the 6K range you can play. The key on the slate is, will we have enough value to be able to do that? And I think running back wise, there are enough 6K guys where in cash games in your single entry tournaments, if Henry's going to be high owned, I think you can get away with the fade on him. I do still like him. It always depends on his ownership at 8-9. He's definitely someone that you want to look to roster and not just completely X out of your player pool. You need to see what ownership looks like. You need to see what kind of news comes out and what kind of value opens up. So that's going to be the key. Let's talk about another guy that gives you some value without your lineups. Big T's boy, Mr. MVP, Carson Wentz, 5'7", is not a bad quarterback option on this slate, Holden, because the gap between quarterbacks is getting large, right? Jalen Hurts is now in the 7K range. Josh Allen is at 8-1. He's kind of in play. We don't have Lamar Jackson on the slate. We don't have Pat Mahomes. Like, I think Carson Wentz at 5'7" is one of the better options in the 5K range at the quarterback position. Sure, there's some other guys that we might be able to get to talk about later on, but I do think that Carson Wentz is in play in cash games and in tournaments, especially if there's no T.Y. Hilton, right? Because it's an easy pair with a guy like Michael Pittman at 5'3". They're getting that, Monday Night Football, or not Monday Night Football, the Sunday Night Football, not getting a huge price bump, right? I'm assuming salaries came out and they just didn't bump these guys up because they should have, right? They should have bumped up Michael Pittman, I think. At 5.3K price tag, I think is wrong. I think he needs to be at like 5'8" or 5'9". And then Carson Wentz should probably be like 6'2". So it does feel like you're getting some kind of a discount. And Holden, you said this is a gross slate, right? You said, this is a gross slate. Well, if it's a gross slate, you know what we're doing at tight end, right? We're going down, baby. We're going really down to the bottom. And Mo Alley Cox. I mean, who doesn't like some Cox, Holden, right? 3.2K.
Settle down, man. Settle down with the sexual innuendo. This is a football show.
Sure. My bad. So football show. Mo Alley Cox. He is definitely someone to consider at 3.2K. And because it's a football show, Holden, right? We got to talk about the Titans. We can't ignore someone like Julio Jones. Anyone who watches football loves to talk Julio Jones in tournaments. He's definitely someone that you have to consider at his price of 5.8K. I mean, that's a dirt cheap price tag for a guy like Julio Jones. So you can't ignore him in tournaments. And then AJ Brown at 6'9". We know what his upside can be. This game could easily interact. I talk about looking for games that can be good back and forth. Well, let me tell you, it's a pick 'em right now, Holden. This game is definitely going to be a good one. You're going to be watching the witching hour on Red Zone, and this game is going to be on, no doubt. You'll definitely be interested in this one.
Yeah, I like it. I just want everybody to know Mangone is off mute. Mangone, you're back in the circle of trust. You can keep me on mute. I don't give a damn. But Mangone is off of mute. That's all I can say. There's still 3 to 5 people that are on mute. Don't take it personally. It's not a big deal. But Mangone's picking winners. I gotta follow Mangone again. And then Kegger, Mr. Kegshoe over here. Let's talk about it from a betting side, okay? Let's talk about this from a betting side. And the betting side is we got a very close game here. It's the Titans +1 or +1.5. I mean, this line's all over, like -0.5, then it's 1, then it's 1.5. Colts -1, -1.5, -0.5. And then how the hell do we have the Colts +0.5 at Bet Rivers, and then nowhere else are you seeing it? It's kind of flipped.
They're -1 at DK.
They're -1 at DK, and they're +0.5, -109 at Bet Rivers.
And yesterday, when I was prepping for the show, the Titans were -1.5 on DK. So it's crazy, man. Yeah, listen, the Titans are a solid football team. They usually tend to play better when they are the nail and not the hammer. Case in point, last 2 weeks, I don't think many people thought that they were going to beat both the Bills and Chiefs back-to-back weeks as more than a field goal dog in both those games, but they got the job done, right? We know they had a great offense, and Henry's playing incredibly well. And the defense isn't as bad as they were last season, which is what they needed, especially on third down. So all in all, I think the trajectory is good for this team right now. The Colts, they're a tough team to figure, man. They are so inconsistent. 1 week they look abysmal, and the next week they look like they have what it takes to maybe make a run and make this division an actual race. But I still always rest on the fact that Carson Wentz blows. And he might look good for a week or maybe even 2 weeks in a row, but eventually he's going to show himself for as bad as he's been the last couple of years. So I think that there are 2 ways to look at this game. The first is the Titans are due for a letdown spot coming off beating the Bills and the Chiefs in back-to-back weeks, right? They also are not a great favorite historically, although who knows where this line will end up by Sunday. But that's why I had said they're a better nail than the hammer. The second way to look at it is there's no letdown spot when you play a division rival and probably the only team that could take the AFC South from you if you're the Titans. I tend to think the Titans will be up for this game for that reason specifically. However, I already gave our subscribers the Titans to win the AFC South preseason at around -120. So we basically already have a stake in the Titans this week. If you aren't on the Titans to win the AFC South, I would lean the Titans here. But the site that I usually get my look-ahead lines from say on October 23rd, the line on this game was the Colts -2.5. Yesterday, when I was doing prep for the show, the Titans were -1.5. And now we're sitting here 24 hours later, the Titans are +1 again. I don't have a clue what is going on with this line movement and the market. So I don't know what to think. I think the Titans are the better team. I think that. And I'd like to think that they win this game. But as far as the line movement, it's so bonkers that I'm not sure what's going on. As far as the total, I think it all comes down to the contribution that you think you're going to get from the Colts. I think they're going to score points here. So I'll lean over 50 here. The only reason it probably won't be a play is because you already lost 1.5 points of line value. So I'll lean over here, but I think they get up and over that number.
Okay. I plug Run Pure Sports and Bets on my new show with Bet Rivers called the Denver City Cast. So I'm just gonna plug it right now. Just talk about betting the Denver teams. And Keg's gonna be part of the show. We're gonna have him on Friday. I'm looking forward to having you on. We're gonna break down the NFL slate. We'll talk Broncos and Washington football team. My God, that's a bad game this week. But we will not bother with that game right now. But you get a chance, go to your podcast, Denver City Cast, type it in. It's my new show, and I'd appreciate the love and support. Panthers, Falcons, Mango.
Hold on, real quick. I want to address a chat question, right? Let's help the chatters out. So one thing they asked was about the tight ends, right? And this could probably relate to some other players that we're going to talk about, but saying that the Colts or the Titans have been good against tight ends, like they're one of the best. But I think part of the reason is sometimes you see funnels, right? And the Titans were really bad against really bad against opposing receivers. Their corners were getting destroyed. Now, of course, last week what happened with Kansas City, I mean, that was crazy, right? I kind of throw those out the window normally. Not going to throw out the window completely Kansas City, but yes, they may have strapped Travis Kelce, but he seems banged up. Tyreek Hill looks like a disaster. It just doesn't look good. I think it's because most of the teams they played against, they realize they can attack their corners, and that's what they've been doing. They don't need to go to their tight ends. The Colts are different. They're just a different team, and they like to throw to those tight ends. They incorporate them in the offense, and I think you're going to see that, and it's also the combination of the tight ends on the slate. It's just rough. We have Kyle Pitts at 6'3". We have TJ Hawkinson at 5'4", and then your third highest priced tight end is Mike Gesicki at 5K. That's why I think that Mo Alley Cox price tag is a bit too cheap. I'm not saying he's the guy I'm going to land on by the end of the week, but I do think you're going to want to punt your tight end position more than likely this week.
Okay. Let's move on. Like button, please. That would be wonderful. Subscribe to our DFS side, the Run Pure Sports channel, and then make sure you subscribe to the Bets channel too. They're flying. You guys got a lot of new subscribers, or a lot of viewers too. That's kind of nice to see. Panthers, Falcons. Sam Darnold's going to start, and he's going out there. And you're still going to play Robbie Anderson out of spite, correct?
Not out of spite. If you'd like to keep going or you'd like me to explain, I can do that, but we can definitely discuss this.
Please.
All right, so here's the thing. I played Robbie Anderson the last 4 weeks in a row, Holden, not in cash games and tournaments. I have cashed 2 of the 4 weeks. If I told you in tournaments you cashed 2 of the 4 weeks, you'd be a happy man, right? If you went and cashed tournaments, and that's not even including maybe a ship a tournament, right? And again, small sample size, we'll get to it. Robbie Anderson, though, what he's doing is not sustainable. He could not do this all year. It's going to get better. It can't get worse than this. It's in a dome against the Falcons. My boy Keg says the Falcons are the worst team in the NFL, even though it's actually the Lions. But we're going to attack it with Robbie Anderson, Holden. We're going to get it done in the dome finally. It's going to happen. Robbie Anderson is going to have a good game this week. If he doesn't have it this week, Holden, I think I'm going to get off.
Whoa, this is the week. This is, you know what the sad part is, Keg? He's been on Robbie Anderson every single week. I can get it right 10 times, but if he gets it right one time, we're going to hear all about Robbie Anderson, okay? So this is it, though. I can't believe I'm hearing this from you. This is the make or break week for Mangone and Robbie Anderson. If he sucks again, Dunsky.
Yeah, more than likely. I don't know who's playing next, right? But the dome gets me excited, right? I will say the one thing that's an issue is there's so many dome games, right? Like there are all these dome games this week, and that's worth mentioning in DFS, right? Like Lions in a dome, Colts are in a dome. We got Falcons in a dome. There's one more Texans. That one's a dome one, and then we got one more. No, the Saints. So like we have like 5 dome games. Like those are always good games for DFS. So like. That's one thing, I guess, that maybe makes it a little worse. It's like there are other options maybe you can go to. But, hey, I'm going to take a shot one more time, and hopefully he is not playing in a dome or against some terrible defense next week.
Okay, so let's talk about the rest of this one here. And by the way, it's the Patriots and the Panthers next week after this one. So it's not like it's going to be a layup there for Robbie Anderson. But anyways, the rest of this game, Matt Ryan, 5'9". Here he is again, 29 DK points, 21.5, 19.44. He's starting to arise from the dead. It's always an uncomfortable start there. You mentioned Chuba Hubbard. Chuba, Cordero Patterson could have a blow-up game at any point in time. What are we doing with Calvin Ridley, though? This is the first guy I got to ask you about. At what point do we also say, Calvin Ridley, he's getting low double digits. I don't know if he's a tournament play, though.
Well, so here's the thing. Why wouldn't he be a tournament play? His floor has been really good. Last week he had a really tough matchup, right? And I targeted the matchup, and, it still worked. I mean, he got his fantasy points. The ceiling wasn't there. You weren't like, okay, like you were the worst play on the slate, but the matchup was difficult. And this matchup is definitely easier. I do think you keep going back to Calvin Ridley too at 6.6K. He can definitely help you. I think it depends on his ownership too. Like if he's like the highest priced receiver, then it's like, or not highest priced, highest owned receiver, then yeah, you can make arguments to fade him very easily because there are routes where he can fail. If you are going to play Calvin Ridley, right, pair it up with maybe a Matt Ryan. It sounds uncomfortable, but I don't think it's a bad idea because he's similar to Brady, where if Matt Ryan goes for like 25 or 28 fantasy points, well, it's going to be paired with those receivers. I mean, it's not Matt Ryan running the ball in the end zone, right? I mean, it could be to Cordell Patterson off 3 touchdowns, but I doubt that's going to happen again. Although Cordell Patterson is definitely more involved in this offense than you think. And I think he's more in play than people realize. The price tag isn't as good as you'd want it to be at 5.9K. You want it to be a little bit cheaper, but I don't know. Quarterback's not great this week, right? I mean, there's not a ton of quarterbacks you're just dying to play. Like I'm going through the list right now. It's like, yeah, I mean, Ryan Tannehill at 6.6 is fine. We talked about Hurts a little bit. Matt Stafford, you can make a case for, but they're likely to be leading a ton. Josh Allen can always have a big game, but he's super pricey. It's just, there's not a lot of quarterbacks to even like on this slate. And I'm someone that never wants to talk about Jared Goff, but at 5.2K, Jared Goff can be in play on this slate, Holden. I mean, it's just not a good quarterback week. So I think in tournaments, you can easily pair up Matt Ryan at 5.9K. You can pair him up with Calvin Ridley. You can run it back with Robbie Anderson, and that way, if he gets there, the game goes probably crazy, right, Holden? It's not going to be Robbie Anderson scoring 1 touchdown, and then if he does score, right, it's not going to be like a 10-10 game. It's likely going to be a shootout. So that's a way to maybe do it, and, if it hits, I don't think a lot of people will be on it.
All right, anything else in this game? DJ Maw, anything at tight end with Pitts? Is Pitts a guy we could start considering? Matt Rule actually recruited the guy, gave him a scholarship in the 10th grade. That's how much he loves Kyle Pitts. And now we got back-to-back 20-plus point games. Like, he's living up to it. He's up to 6.3 on DK, 6.8 on FanDuel, 18 targets, 16 catches the last 2 weeks. He is blowing up.
You're on mute, Trav.
Yeah, sorry. I was interacting with the chatters, Holden. What was your question again?
Okay, let's talk about the Falcons and Panthers. Kyle Pitts has scored 20-plus DK points and FanDuel points the last 2 weeks. Got all those targets and catches. Why don't you talk to me about Kyle Pitts real quick?
Me? I mean, he's a machine. That's not going to help you.
That's better than Mangone's analysis on mute.
Well, Kyle Pitts is good. Here's the problem. Let's talk about this. DFS-wise, he's expensive. He's the highest priced guy on the slate. Now, Holden, I don't know how the slate is going to go, right? If I just said right, I was going to not do that. Damn it. I was talking with the chatters. Right is one of my crutch words, Holden, and I was not going to do it, and I just did it. But Kyle Pitts, 6.3K. The issue I have with Kyle Pitts is at that price, if he's going to be low owned, if you're able to spend all the way up, Holden, for a tight end, then I'm in if it's going to be low owned at 5%. If he's going to get ownership that gravitates towards him, I don't want to be there, I don't think. I think that's going to be one of the issues because a lot of builds, if you have a lot of value, if you have guys at 3K, like let's say there's a 3K receiver on the slate, Holden, that's an absolute lock. Then you have money to spend in other spots, and then Kyle Pitts becomes a play that a lot of people might gravitate towards at 6.3. So it just depends on how the slate goes in the ownership that you're going to be seeing at 6.3K. Kyle Pitts is a good play, but I need to know what the ownership is. And same with TJ Hawkinson at 5.4, right? He's a really good bring back. And I just used it, Holden. I know I saw the smirk, but 5.4K. I think he's a really, really good option that people don't want to go to. And it's in a dome, right? And the dome game is amazing. We need to be playing dome games. Just load up on the dome games. That's the way to go on this slate.
You know what's funny? You guys are always saying, I see the face you're making. I honest to God have no idea what faces I'm making. I really don't. Like, I guess I do wear my emotions on my sleeve, but no, I don't think it's an awful play. Keg, let's get into this game from the bet side. We haven't done that yet, have we? Yes, we did. We already talked about the bet side.
We didn't.
You can go to the next game. This is not an amazing one, Holden, for DFS.
Yeah,
it's in a dome. You want to get pieces, but you don't want to. You don't need to load up on it.
I don't want anything with this, Keg.
Listen, this game blows, and I don't have much on it. I would like to tell Mangone that he's right about the Falcons and Detroit, though. I have the Falcons like 23rd right now. My PR. Detroit's like 29th. Falcons won 3 of the last 4. I'm definitely gonna owe them a steak dinner for sure.
Yeah, so let's just pass on that game. I'm glad we decided to talk about it, though, Keg. It isn't a dome, though. Mangone might be honest. Maybe I'm taking Mangone's words, and I'm just going to be like, hey, the over looks juicy. That thing dropped, though.
It can shoot out, though. It
can, but it's not like I have a conviction that it will to bet the over, you know?
I think if you're going to play this, if you want to get exposure to the over in this game, I think you just game stack it in DFS because you can get it at a cheap price tag. Because you can get Matt Ryan 5.9, you can get Robbie at his price. Chuba even is cheap. Calvin Ridley's too cheap. I think that's the way if you want to really get some payment on this game. I think that could be the way to do it because I just don't think a lot of ownership gravitates towards it because there's other spots that people will just probably go to.
Okay. It's RPS Heater 25% off your first payment if you haven't already signed up on the DFS side. It's not just football. It's now NBA. Personally, I think our crew is the best at NBA out there. Biased, maybe. Results kind of say that that's the case. Terrific at NFL. We've got EPL. We got LOL. We got all the whatever. Anything with 3 letters we end up having great stuff with. Just every single sport. Had a guy hit us up yesterday on Twitter. He goes, $100 for NBA. That's $100. $100 gets you NBA every single sport and the bet side. So there's a lot going on here at RPS. Miami and Buffalo, Kegger. Miami and Buffalo. So we've got a little Josh Allen action. Always love watching him play some football. Their implied total is 31.5 right now against this horrid Miami team. I mean, you would admit, right? The Dolphins are worse than the Falcons, correct?
Yes.
Horrible team.
The Dolphins are terrible.
Plus 13.5 for the Dolphins. 49.5 is the total in this game. So let me just ask you a question outside of the numbers. What kind of stock do you put in divisional games? Are they closer? Can they still be blowouts? Does that have anything to do with your process? And then get into that 13.5 and the 49.5.
Yeah, I think that they are closer games, except when teams like the Ravens, who just smashed Cincinnati, 14 times in a row. I think once you get to a point like what the Patriots did to the AFC East for 15 years, I think once you get there, it doesn't really matter. But for the most part, I think they're somewhat closer games than your average game is. But like you just said, the Dolphins are absolutely dreadful. And that's why Run Pure subscribers are holding under 9 wins on the Dolphins at plus 125. At the beginning of the year, I don't know, man. I didn't think they were going to be this bad. I'll be honest. I didn't think they'd hit 9 wins, but something is broken. Like when you give the Jaguars their first win in 19 games, the analytics say that they're another team that's outside the top 25 in both offense and defense, and Tua just isn't that good. Now the Bills, they're rolling. Top 10 offense. More importantly, their big Achilles heel last year. Their defense is rolling. They've been playing extremely well. Number 1 in defensive DVOA on Football Outsiders. As long as the defense keeps playing at a high level, this team's on a rocket ship to making a deep run in the AFC. So I like them a lot. Now, my power ratings say that this game should be 13. The current line, yesterday at least, was 14. What's the line right now? 14 still. So technically,
13.5 is. I'm seeing a couple 13.5s out there. Bet River says 13.5.
Okay, so technically, I think there's between a half point and 1 point of value on the Dolphins right now. But man, they are hard to back. I'm going to say slight lean towards the Dolphins here, but do I feel great about it? No. 2 touchdowns is still a lot in the NFL. The total 49.5, that seems slightly low, but not by much. So slight lean to the over, but other than that, that's all I got.
I mean, how bad is the Miami organization?
They're
we
pretty
agreed in terms of a trade for Deshaun Watson, but we have to make sure that he didn't do what everybody says he did.
And I'll tell you what, that poor head coach looks like he's going to kill somebody on the sidelines. Who's the Flores, right? The head coach for Miami? Yeah, he looks like he's going to kill somebody on the sidelines. Like, he does not like to lose.
No. And then on top of that, you got Tua, whose feelings are now hurt. They say, you don't like this. You don't like this talk about Deshaun Watson. They're just a mess. Bad ownership, man. Bad ownership is going to sink. It's going to sink your team. It's so tough to overcome.
I'm a Mets fan, Holden. I understand that completely. Bad ownership sinks you. Keg knows you used to be a Mets fan. We know what ownership can do.
And I'm still a Jets fan, so I haven't seen a winner in my whole life.
Mangone, let's get to Miami Buffalo from the DFS side. And
sure.
You just go to Buffalo, right? We go to Buffalo, and you start with Tommy Sweeney, and then you get to Josh Allen.
Yeah, you can do Mike Gesicki, I think. You could also do Jalen Waddle. I don't hate that. It's just I don't know how necessary it is on this slate. I think if you look at the Bills team, it feels very similar to the Rams last week. Or I'm trying to think, who was the other one that played? The Cardinals. You don't need to go to the run back, I think, in this spot. It just depends if you want to. Yes, the Dolphins can keep it close. I don't think this Bills defense is going to stop everyone. Also, if you look at this Bills defense, they are a team that have a decent defense, and the weather can sometimes come into play. We also have a lot of domes on the slate where defensive-wise, if the wind picks up in Buffalo, which I don't know what the wind's going to do. I don't know what the weather's going to do, Holden. But if it picks up, they're going to be a defense that I look at their price tag. I believe they're 3.3K. I think Hoop will talk about that on the cash show that we have tomorrow, Holden. So, why don't we give that a plug there? The cash show we do, it's a premium show, and it's, a good time. You always say it's one of your favorite shows of the week. You also say this is one of your favorite shows of the week, so I don't know which one it is.
My favorite show of the week? My favorite show of the week is definitely this show. No question. Now, I will say there's a different show tomorrow, but today it's definitely this one. Who are we pairing Allen up? Do we want to go a little Emmanuel Sanders and get different there because everybody's going to pair him up with Diggs or Beasley, or we just suck it up, play Diggs, and let's go?
I think it's suck it up, play Diggs, and go, because Diggs has been due for a lot of good positive regression his way. So I'm just going to keep it simple. If I play the Bills, it will probably be through Diggs, Allen, move on. Not a game I want to just load up on. Not going to go out there and just load up on Moss or Singletary. I don't even know if Moss got hurt. Yeah, no, he's still there. So it's Moss and Singletary. I just don't need to go there with those guys. There's better running backs, and that's just the way to, I think, handle this Bills game. And who knows? It could be Tommy Sweeney out of nowhere. He's 2.9K. If that's your exposure to Bills offense, go for it.
Okay. And anything with Devontae Parker or Jalen Waddle? Waddle's starting to show his talent. What do you think?
It's nice when Parker's out. That way you can go Waddle and Gesicki, but I need Parker to be out. If Parker is in, I don't see myself going there as much, and I just don't want to deal with the Dolphins. I think there's better spots on this slate to go to.
Yeah, no doubt about it. All right, we got a Thursday night football game to go to, boys. We got a Thursday night game, Kegger, and there's going to be no Devontae Adams. There's going to be no Allen Lazard. You got Equinemius St. Brown. I mean, it's not looking good. Maybe Valdez-Scantling comes back, but maybe he doesn't come back. This line is now up to Cardinals -6.5. Could have it at 6 this morning. Total's at 50.5. So you want to get in on this game, or is it a stay away spot just because the Packers right now, that wide receiver room is a complete debacle?
Yeah, I'll be quick. Listen, I think that the discount that you're getting on the Packers team total because Adams and Lazard is not playing is interesting, I guess you could say. You almost never see the Packers with a team total of 21.5. And I think that Rodgers could throw the ball to anybody. He could take practice squad guys and move the football because he could just put the ball in a place where you have to catch it. But I always go back to he's just about a 500 quarterback on the road. So you would think it's going to be a heavy dose of Jones and Dillon for as long as they can, barring the defense could keep the Cardinals close. So I would have the line at 6.5, which is exactly where it is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shoot for a live target on the Cards and hope that the Packers could score first here tomorrow night on the live show. If they do, we will probably hop on the Cardinals at a discounted rate. The total 50.5. I would think that most people will like the under here because of the inactive list we're going to see. But it wouldn't shock me if this game got up and over the total. Right now, I really don't have a lean on the total. I'll be shooting for a discount live on the Cards. And that's that. Tomorrow night, 8 o'clock, we'll be live on the Run Pure Bets YouTube channel.
Tomorrow night, 8 o'clock Eastern, Run Pure Bets. I drop the kids off, not at the pool. I pick them up from the pool. I hang out and eat dinner with them. And when I get back, sometimes I hop on with Keg. It's a very profitable show. Very profitable show. So that's good. Showdown-wise, I guess Mangone, I wonder if people are rolling Tunyon up there because they're going to think he's going to get a lot of opportunities. I'm not sure what to do. Every week it's freaking who's going to catch the balls from Kyler Murray. I think you mentioned that earlier. It's so difficult to figure out who the hell he's going to. He's not running anymore. What do you think? What are some showdown ideas here?
Yeah, so quarterbacks have been going underowned in Showdown. I wonder what will happen tomorrow because there probably is no Adams unless he gets the 2 negative tests. If he does, then he'll probably be underowned because, hey, like no one's going to play Adams because they weren't building him in his lineup. So it's like a late ad. But I think Rodgers in the captain spot is a really good idea. And then pair it up with just a bunch of these different guys. It could be a little frustrating, but I think it's not a bad route to go on this slate. I think you could see the Cardinals get up early and then just see Rodgers kind of, get the job done late. And maybe they don't win, but they might just get over there to cover. I do have a bet. I have Rondell Moore on the over on 30.5 receiving yards as a prop. So I think it's a good one because I think they're going to be able to take advantage of this Packers secondary. This Packers secondary is not very good. You talked about Kyler is not running as much. So if Kyler is not running as much, what are they going to do, Holden? They're going to try and get their playmakers in open space more. And Rondell Moore is a guy you want to get in open space. So I do think that you are going to see Rondell Moore's overhit at 30.5. So that's one that I like. And then my favorite captain or MVP, it's lame, but it's Rodgers right now. And it sounds lame, but Carson Wentz was owned at like 6% the other day. Quarterbacks are just getting underowned in Showdown. And I'm very happy with just going to Rodgers, pairing them up. And instead of loading up on Cardinals, Holden, I'm going to run 4 Packers with Aaron Rodgers in the captain spot. 2 Cardinals ran back. And I'm going to let other people just load up on the favorite and say, oh, since the Cardinals are going to win, I'm going to play 3 or 4 Cardinals. I'll let you play the Cardinals guessing game, and I'll just figure it out with the Packers instead on some under-owned stacks and call it a day.
I'm with you on Rodgers. I think people are going to fade him just because, he doesn't have Adams. Here's my question for you, Keg. What is Adams worth to this line? We talk about McCaffrey being a point. Is he a 1.5?
Man, I think that there are probably only 5 people that are worth a point in the league right now. He's one of them. 1.5 is a lot, though.
But that line moved more than that, didn't it?
I know it did. But you know what, though? You have to also think when you have more than one guy that starts out, the cluster injury effect to one position group, and it compounds the impact on the betting line. So, and plus you don't know if Valdez Scantling's going to play also, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think it was the totality of the wide receivers out that moved the line that much. Yeah. But no question that Adams was a big part of it. He's in that group now with McCaffrey and a couple other guys, Aaron Donald, that impact the line like a full point.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's very interesting. All right, guys, great work. Mangone and Kegger, always good to see you again. Kegger's gonna be my new show, the Denver City Cast. We talk some Denver betting. Those teams will go around the league. So more thoughts from Keg. And if you're not signed up on the bet side, I don't know what you're waiting for. Keg, one more plug for the bet side.
Yeah, use the promo code BETS25 off. You'll get 25% off the first week or month. It's only $15 a week or $60 a month, man. There are places out there that charge you $500 to $1,000 for one sport for a season. And we give out every sport that we cover for literally $60 a month. Or you can get us as an add-on to the DFS package for like an extra $20. So it's a no-brainer.
By the way, I just saw this note here. Packers are 6-0 without Devontae Adams over the last few years. That's incredible.
I mean, who'd they play?
Well, that doesn't even matter. It's not just Adams, though. That's the problem. Like the whole freaking wide receiver room is just a disaster right now. Like button, subscribe, and then Mangone, anything else you want to add to what we got going on the DFS side, Run Pure Sports?
Yeah, I mean, one of the best times to sign up over here at Run Pure Sports. I mean, there's a million sports going on, right? I mean, just you got the MLB Showdown slates, which Big T's been absolutely crushing. He posts his entire player pool, so you can see exactly what he's doing. NFL, I mean, there's tons of NFL going on. NBA just started up for a week. I mean, everyone just keeps crushing in the NFL. So that's really good. I mean, MMA, we got everything. We got NASCAR. It's all going on, all the sports, one price. We're not telling you, hey, here's the NFL package. Come sign up. Here's the NASCAR package. Here's the MMA package. Come sign up now. Join if you want a great community. Get in that Discord chat. Talk with everyone. It'll help make you a better DFS player. And if you love sports, this is the place to be.
Wonderful. Simon, great work behind the scenes. For Kegger and for Mangone, I'm Holden. Simon, get us out of here, please.